Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Ryan Boland. Thank you all for joining me. I want to do a little something more lighthearted in this video, and this is in reference to the comedian Chris Rock. And he had some really strong words to say about Will Smith. They weren't negative. They weren't hateful, but it shows that Chris Rock is still somewhat bothered by the assault that took place some months ago. So let's get right into this article here. And the article is entitled, Chris Rock rips Will Smith, and then he goes on to say, this is never going to end. This is never going to end for Will Smith. Comedian Chris Rock slammed actor Will Smith over his infamous Oscar slap, saying, quote, "The MF hit me over a BS joke, the nicest joke I ever told." Hilarious, right? Rock was performing a comedy skit with veteran comedian Dave Chappelle on Thursday night in Liverpool, United Kingdom, where Chappelle asked Rock about the Oscar slap, saying, "Did that S hurt?" according to a report by Daily Mail. "God D right," Rock replied. "The MF hit me over a BS joke, the nicest joke I ever told." In March, and we all know what happened in March, Smith stormed on stage, onto the Oscar stage, and smacked Rock across the face after the comedian made a joke at the expense of his wife. We all know about that. But Chappelle said this of Smith: "Will did the impression of a perfect person for 30 years. And he ripped his mask off and showed us he was as ugly as the rest of us." This is what Chappelle said about Smith. The comedian reportedly added that, quote, "Whatever the consequences are, I hope he doesn't put his mask back on again and lets his real face breathe. I see myself in both men." In July, and some of you already know about this, in July, Smith ended up publicly apologizing to Rock, but the comedian reportedly hasn't accepted the actor's apology yet. Rock has also made fun of Meghan Markle over her seemingly never-ending complaints about life, saying, quote, "I just don't get it," and used her as an example of today's obsession with being a victim, which I agree, because everybody's a victim now. I was talking to somebody just recently on my job. Everybody's a victim. I'm so sick and tired of people hollering about being victims. I want to throw up. So let's go back to this. Today's obsession with being a victim, which he claimed was one of the only ways to be famous. Recently, Markle claimed that people only started treating her, quote, "like a black woman" after she started dating Britain's Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. I don't know how to pronounce it. Sussex. I'm sorry, people. And talked about her alleged fear of not being able to afford her $14.65 million mansion. That's the end of that article. But suffice to say, that's just funny. That's just funny. But my comment is this: is that about Will Smith? I think I said this too in the previous video. I've always liked Will Smith. I've always admired him as an actor. I wasn't too kosher with him as a rap artist, but I always liked him as an actor. I thought he was funny and so forth. But I think the whole idea of him slapping Chris Rock, if it was actually genuine and if it actually happened and it wasn't some staged event to try to distract people, because I did a video on that some months ago, that this might be something to distract people, distract the masses away from what's going on in the government, so everybody won't know won't pay attention to the policies they creating to take our freedoms. Well, nevertheless, if this is genuine, it could be, and I'm just going to reiterate it, it could be that, Will Smith was under a lot of pressure. Could that pressure have come from his wife? Maybe. I don't know. They did a special, and reportedly, I didn't see the special, but reportedly that Jada Pinkett Smith said some things about Will Smith and so forth, and opened up on, look, that could be the case, and he just went off, and that it could be his slapping, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock might not have been so much that he was tired of hearing about what Chris Rock said in the past, because people said, well, he said some things in the past and it was starting to pile up. That to me could be if Jada Pinkett Smith is the reason why he went off, because he's under pressure from her. He feels she doesn't really love him, yada, yada, yada. That could be a hidden way of wanting to really hit her. I'm just giving you my opinion. And he was crying out and he was angry and he was filled with rage and he really wanted to take that out on her, but he took it out on Chris Rock. Just saying. I'm not saying that's the case, but that could be the case. How do I know that? Because I've been in a similar situation. When I was married, I felt bad. I'm being transparent here. Okay? Excuse me. I've been transparent. I mean, I'm a nice guy. I'm a man of God, love the Lord. And I'm a nice guy. I'm faithful. I'm dedicated. But I'm human. And I was under all this pressure and so forth. My ex, he was suffering from some things and suffering from mental illness and so forth and other things. And I just couldn't take it. And my resentment and anger would be manifest in different ways, but not directly towards her, because I've always been a passive aggressive person. And so my passive aggressiveness would manifest in other ways. And thankfully, they did not go that route. But my point is, it could have been that Will Smith struck Chris Rock due to what he may have wanted to do in reference to Jada Pinkett Smith. Now, am I saying that he may have wanted to hit her? Not necessarily. Let me reframe that. Not necessarily saying he may have wanted to hit her, but he may have wanted to go off on her. Put it to you like that. He may have wanted to go off on her. So those of you that are watching this video, watch the entire video. Don't just watch part of it. It's because I want you to get the whole thing so I won't be misrepresented. But this also shows that, in my opinion, that Chris Rock is still stunned, immensely stunned by what happened, and rightly so. I'm probably sure this had a psychological effect on him, just blew his mind, if in fact it's authentic. And it would be extremely difficult to look past that, because he hit him enough to where I'm pretty sure it stung. Like you said, yeah, it hurt, you know? And I can imagine Chris Rock going home or going to wherever and probably wanting to cry because he felt like, because it probably shook his mind. It shook his insides, you know, kind of shell shocked him. Like, man, what just happened here? You know, and so that type of physical assault is going to stay with you. It's going to stay with you to the day you die. And so this just shows to me that he couldn't let go of that. Now, far as like I said, going back to Will Smith and what Dave Chappelle said about him, taking off the mask and showing that he's just like all of us, I agree with that assessment to some degree, you know. Will Smith did kind of give this impression that he's untouchable. You know, he put this impression that he's untouchable. And there's so much stuff about that. You know, there's so much stuff about why Jada Pinkett Smith married him and so forth. I was sharing with a friend of mine, you know, I was like, well, you know, I heard that Jada Pinkett really was in love with Tupac Shakur. She was in love with him. And she really wanted to be with him, but he died. You know, and then I said to her, I said that she only, in my opinion, that she may have only got with Will because Will was the next best thing. You know, Will was pursuing her and he wanted to be with her, and she went on and married him, but she really didn't love him. She married him because he just kept pursuing her. She said, okay, I'm gonna give in. He's the next best thing. And then my friend was telling me that supposedly, I think it was Jada Pinkett Smith's mother or Will Smith's mother was putting pressure on her to marry her, something like that. But whatever the case may have been, it came down to her saying, okay, I'm going to go ahead and marry him. He's pursuing me. But she internally may have not really loved him. And I was telling my friend, I was like, I believe based on movies that she has made in the past and based on her persona and based on how she really loved Tupac, was really into him, that she wanted to be with a man that had that thuggish mentality. You know, Tupac had that thuggish mentality, that street mentality, hardcore mentality, but he was intelligent. He was articulate. And she admired that. I believe, in my opinion, she wanted that kind of man. I mean, you look at the movies she's made. I mean, one of the movies I was sharing with my friend, great movie, excellent movie. Some of you may have already seen. It came out in the 1990s called Jason's Lyrics. I mean, you look at her persona, you know, her persona in the movies, her persona that she gives off is this hardcore, like snap her neck, like, you know, even in Set It Off, she had the same kind of persona. Jason's Lyrics, same kind of persona, you know, this, you know, snappy neck kind of woman that felt like, you know, some people have even interpreted it as I'm better than you and I'm hung up in myself and I'm the thing and I'm the stuff, you know. That's kind of how the persona she gave off in the movies. Now, I'm not saying that the movies define who she is, but in my personal opinion, I think that that's how she really was and is, and that was reflected in her love for Tupac. But he died. And I believe that had he lived, she probably would have married him. But he died. Will Smith kept pursuing her. She gave in to him, but didn't really love him. Like, you know, she really didn't love him, wasn't in love with him. She gave in to him. He had all this money. He had all this popularity. And that's what ended up happening. And what he really wanted to do was go off on her, but ended up going off on the wrong man. Ended up going off on the wrong person, rather. Went off on a comedian in his caliber, so to speak, to some extent. And, well, not comedian, but caliber, meaning that, you know, he was, you know, Chris Rock obviously is very popular. So he went off on a fellow celebrity and took it out on the wrong person. So I think, in my opinion, that's what ended up happening. And now he's really suffering for this. He's really suffering, and Will Smith is really suffering for this. And that Chris Rock, his suffering may be a little bit different. His suffering is a smile on his face, but in his mind, he's traumatized. He's still traumatized because, according to the article, it says Will Smith apologized several months ago, but accordingly, Chris Rock didn't forgive him. Now, why do you think Chris Rock is not forgiving him, according to this article? Could it be that Will Smith waited too late? Maybe. Or it could have been just what you did to me was just too traumatic. It was just too much. It just affected me in a lot of different ways. I think he should forgive him and move on and say, okay, man, I forgive you, move on, and maybe not have much else to do with Will Smith. But I don't know. I don't know, man. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. And hopefully with Will Smith, he'll get himself back to where he needs to be. But I don't think things are going to be the same now. I don't think things are going to be the same. I don't think things are going to be the same for both of them. But I think with Chris Rock, it's not going to be the same in the sense that people are going to always refer to that situation with him. I don't think it's going to be the same with Will Smith in terms of his career. It's going to take a lot for Will Smith to be able to bounce back from this. It could be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years from now, and Will Smith would still have to live with what he did if it was authentic. So that's what I think about it. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. God bless you all. See you again.